Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to look at another collaboration beer. This one is half Swedish on the home side and half Norwegian on the away side, and these are two very well respected breweries actually, and you've seen me review a number of things from both of them on the channel before, so I'm very curious to see what this beer has in store, because it's a style that you don't see either of them brew very often, and it's one of my favourite traditional German styles of beer actually. So for this review then, for the home side in Sweden, we are going to head up towards Gothenburg once again, Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, the Swedish craft beer capital, and we're having a look at another beer from Stigbergets Bryggeri. This one is the Cuddle Monster, which is a 4.4% Helles, and it is brewed in collaboration with Lervig Aktiebryggeri, who come from Stavanger on the west coast of Norway. So yeah, should be quite interesting. Reviewed a number of beers from both of these breweries before, I think maybe in the region of about 30 or 40 maybe from Stigbergets, and I think maybe around 10 or so from Lervig, but both very well respected breweries, and you know, both two of the better names, two of the better known names I should say, in the Scandinavian craft beer scene. So yeah, 4.4% Helles this one, the Cuddle Monster. This is review number 5 of quite probably 6 that you're going to see from Stigbergets across April of 2020. This beer was released on the 1st of April 2020 through the local and Småskaligt assortment that you get from Stigbergets, and this was released along with Ololeo, the Jack, Queen and King of Hops, and then this was the 5th beer that they released, and you will see me review another Stigbergets one that I still have from last month. I'll try and get that one done quite soon as well. That's an American collaboration actually, but really nice to see these breweries collaborate together, and of course I always do enjoy a nice kind of classic German beer if you like. My good friend Peter over at the Clueless Drinker, he enjoys a good German beer as well, so I would recommend that you guys check out his channel if you're interested in your you know, German craft beers, and also the kind of German traditional stuff as well. I try to review those on the channel as often as I can as well, but very curious to see how this one turns out, and as always I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer then. So as always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Stigbergets and from Lervig before. No doubt there will be some more added to that list, to both of those lists rather, in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for the Swedish beers that I've reviewed, and another one for the Norwegian beers. The Swedish one is added to pretty much all the time. The Norwegian one is also added to quite regularly as well, but not as regularly as I'd like. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Stigbergets Bryggeri then first, since these guys are the home brewery. So as I've told you before, Stigbergets Bryggeri are based in Gothenburg, Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, the Swedish craft beer capital up on the west coast. I say that all the time on this channel because there's so much good beer up there. But the company was founded by Nils Hultkrantz and Richard Simonsson, and these guys own 2 bars that share the one kitchen. This is the Bar Kino and the Hagabions Cafe, which can be found on Linnegatan in the city, and they've both opened back in 2007. The building in which you'll find these is basically an independent cinema, and they've got a lot of very interesting foreign films there, and I didn't know this until I went and actually visited the place. So Bar Kino is in the basement on the outside, and then the Hagabions Cafe you'll find when you go up into the lobby, and the Hagabions Cafe is actually pretty big, so the next time I get up to Gothenburg I'm hoping that I can get in there and see a film and film a little bit of the Hagabions Cafe, and then maybe go down to Bar Kino afterwards actually. But I did have an out and about video for that as well, so you can check out the Bar Kino Hagabions Cafe video that I did too. But originally the idea that they had with Stigbergets was that they were going to brew a few beers to sell in the bars, but this led to them kegging the beer and selling it on to other pubs before they eventually started bottling it in November of 2014. I think it was maybe around 2011 or so that they started brewing actually. But the original beers that they were brewing were mainly English and German styles, so they do have a bit of background in things like this, but of course where they really made their name was with the more hoppy American beer styles, notably the hazy New England IPAs. The original head brewer that they had was Ole Anderson, who is now focusing fully on his own company, OO Brewing. He left Stigbergets back in 2017. He was the developer of the GBG Beer Week beer for 2016, if I remember the year correctly, and also the Amazing Haze. Those were two of his beers, and at the same time he developed the Narangi for OO. He was the one that really, he was the brewer that really brought the hazy New England style into Sweden actually, but he was replaced for a period of time by Barnaby Struve, who was one of the vice presidents at Three Floyds over in Indiana in America, and yeah, so he was, he was just with them, I think, for a very, very short period of time. But more recently, they've opened up a new brewery at Partihalarna. I think that was at the end of 2018, and they're brewing 5,000 litres batches at a time there, and they've been working on some sour beers too. Although I haven't seen a Stigbergets sour in a little while. Actually, they've not been producing too many of those, I think, over the last little while. But they also started selling their beers in the 440ml cans, which helps them export quite a bit more. And the collaborations you will find in these little 330. Red Bull sized cans actually. But they now have a brew team of Ollie Banks, who used to work for Beavertown in London, and Lucas Munraid, who used to work for All In Brewing, who are one of the well-known gypsy brewers around Gothenburg. But as of April 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, they've produced around 60 different types of beer. That's always on the increase, of course, and I'm not sure if that number on Untappd is accurate. They've just opened up a new bar in Stockholm as well, which I think opened late March of 2020, and if you want to get these beers in Gothenburg, then Barkino Hagabjörn's Cafe is where you want to go, the sort of unofficial tap room of both OO Brewing and of Stigbergets Bryggeri as well. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about Stigbergets Bryggeri for the moment. A very, very well known Swedish brewery, and I would recommend, if you haven't tried any of their beers already, have a go at the GBG Beer Week, the new and improved GBG Beer Week, and you can also have a look at the Amazing Haze as well. It's a little bit of a classic, but then they've got new beers coming out every month, which are always very, very interesting. You're basically guaranteed a good New England IPA with these guys, but I would love to see them have a go at like a black IPA and a West Coast IPA. If they're doing German styles, I've had a barley wine from these guys recently, which was very nice as well. They've also got some really good coffee stouts these days as well. The Yanga Wake, and I forget what the other one was called, but yeah, you'll get a very good imperial stout from Stigbergets as well, in my experience. But yeah, that's all you need to know about them. If you want to learn more, check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on. You can check out the Rate Beer and Untappd pages to see all the different beers that they've done, as well as Beer Advocate too. So yeah, let's move on to the Norwegian side of this beer then. So Lervig Aktiebryggeri. As I told you before, Lervig Aktiebryggeri are based in Stavanger in southwestern Norway, and the company was founded back in 2003 after the Toll brewery was sold to Carlsberg, and they subsequently moved production to Oslo. But for a while the Lervig beers were produced at the Mack Brewery in Tromsø, which is away up in the north, but production was moved to Hillevåg down in Stavanger in 2005. So the head brewer for Lervig is Mike Murphy. He's been there since around 2010, and he also owns a little bit of a share in the company as well. And prior to this, the brewery were making many light lagers, but Mike moved them towards making the more American style beers that they're now really well known for. But Mike played quite an important role in the Danish craft beer revolution. He worked with a number of renowned brewers such as Mikael Jeppe Bjerg, so Sean Hill, and also Andreas Kiesmeyer as well. He worked for Birra del Borgo in Italy for a little while, but now he owns 5% of Lervig Aktiebryggeri, so he is there basically for the foreseeable future, I would think. But the CEO of the company is Anders Kleistrup, and the main owner of the brewery was originally Christopher Stensrud, who owned 67% of the shares. But in 2018, Orkita Capital, who also own part of Mikkeller, they bought 50% of the company, and they're helping them to expand at the moment as well. So the Lervig beers are going to get out there a little bit more. They're going to build up the infrastructure of the brewery, and you know, you will start to see the Lervig beers a little bit more widely across the world, but they are definitely one of the more recognisable Norwegian craft beer names. But they're apparently hoping to open up a new facility called Ulhelene in Stavanger at some point very, very soon as well. I've heard it's a beautiful city actually. I really want to get to Stavanger and take a little look at it. But they export around 1/3 of their beer, and the brewery now exports 17% of all the exported beer from Norway, which is very, very impressive for a craft brewery. But as of April 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, these guys have produced around 150 different kinds of beer, so they have been very prolific over the last while. And the interesting thing about Lervig is that for a very long time these guys didn't turn a profit. I think it was only like 2016 or so that they actually, I think it was 2015 where they first broke even for the year, and then it was 2016 when they actually started to turn a profit. So basically Christopher Stensrud was funding this company and getting it up and running, and it took them quite a while to get profits out there. There's not many breweries that have backers like that who can help them out in that way. So that's one of the great things about Lervig, and they are now in a very, very solid position, and these guys are not going to have any trouble, I think, going forward actually. So yeah, Lervig have a very, very solid base now, and as I say, probably the best known Norwegian craft brewery name, along probably probably the best known Norwegian craft breweries these days are Lervig, Amundsen, and I guess Servicium are really quite well known. Nugna, they were taken over by was it Hansa Borg? Took them over, and originally, you know, they were the Norwegian craft beer brewer that everyone knew, with Keitel Jikjun, who now owns Solo Beer in Crete actually. So if you want some beers that are like the original Nugna ones, check out Solo Beer from Crete in Greece. So yeah, it's definitely worth trying some of those. But yeah, Nugna always used to be the very well known Norwegian brewery, and now it's Lervig who've really kind of taken over that mantle, if you like. But yeah, really impressive brewery, Lervig. I really like the beers that you get from these guys, and they're definitely worth checking out if you get the chance. But yeah, we're getting the Lervig stuff fairly regularly through the local and Småskaligt as well, so, which is great. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Lervig Aktiebryggeri. Hopefully I can get up to Stavanger at some point and visit their Ulhelgen if it's open. That would be really cool to go and try some more of the Lervig beers up there. But yeah, if you want to learn more about this brewery, check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on. You can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages as well to learn more about all the different types of beer that they've done. So yeah, let's get on and have a taste of this one then and see how we get on. So as you can see, this beer's poured a really nice, well, the artwork on this one, I'm saying this beer's poured, I've not even opened it. But yeah, the artwork on this one is really quite nice. It is quite different. It looks like a cat, some sort of weird alien cat with 3 eyes. The artwork on this, I have to say, is pretty interesting. But yeah, this is the Cuddle Monster apparently, with these red nail polish and things. But there you can see, there is the Stigbergets symbol, named after the area in Gothenburg of course, and there is the star for Lervig. So yeah, 4.4% Helles, this one, the Cuddle Monster, released on the 1st of April 2020 through the local and Småskaligt assortment. So let's get this guy out and we will get on with the tasting. So yeah, let's get this guy out and into the glass. So yeah, really curious about this, because as I say, this is a very unusual style for these breweries to have a go at. And as I've told you before, I'm a huge fan of my traditional German beers, but we just don't get too many different ones up here in Sweden. But yeah, this one has poured, as you would expect, it's poured a lovely kind of pale golden colour. You know, it's got a finger of a perfect white frothy head on this one. That looks really, really very nice, and I can tell you straight away, you can really smell the German malts out of this. I mean, I've always felt that the German beer styles are a little bit underappreciated, and you know, if people were to experiment with, you know, Nelson Sauvin hopped pills and Enigma hopped pills beers and things like this, I think you could have some real fun with these beer styles, you know, playing around with them. But people have never done it. They've all been about the IPAs and things like this recently. So to do a bit of experimentation with the Helles and the Pilsner could be a really interesting thing. I'm not sure you could do it so much with the Schwarz beers or the Dunkels, right enough, but yeah, definitely with the Pils and the Helles, and I guess the Kolsch to a degree as well, you could do it. You'd have some real fun playing around with different lager beers actually, cold fermentation. But yeah, when it comes to rating these beers, it's really about how original they turn out actually. So yeah, I think this one, going by the aroma, I think this one will be really nice. But in terms of its appearance, there is nothing really surprising about this one. A really clear pale golden straw colour and a nice frothy white head. You can see the carbonation. There's a few big bubbles on the side of the glass, but quite a bit going up towards the bottom of the head there. But yeah, let's have a look at the aroma then and see how we get on with this one. Yeah, straight away with this one, you get that lovely just German malt base to it, that kind of German pale malty quality. It just comes across as very, very smooth. I've always said to you in my German reviews, one of the things I really miss about living there was the German bread. Absolutely love the German bakeries. I really, really miss those. But yeah, straight away you get that nice kind of pale base there. You can smell it's got a little bit of graininess to it, almost just a little bit bread crusty. You've got a wee bit of a biscuity sweetness to this one as well, which is nice. So yeah, I really like how this is. Going together. This one. The aroma of that it smells very, very original. I mean, you can tell with this one. This is German hopped, and it's also, I would guess it's German hop. It could be Czech and Slovenian hopped. You never know. It might have a little bit of Czech Sats or some Styrian Goldings or something in it as well. But I think this one is. I'm pretty sure this is German hopped and German malted. German malts I'm 100% sure about. German hopped, it might be Czech hopped because the floral notes on this are just that little bit kind of different. They're a little bit more thing, but it could have Czech hops and German hops in it right enough. The Czech Sats, or the Žatec as they call it in Czech language, or the Styrian Golding from Slovenia right enough. But yeah, the malt base in this one is fairly straightforward. Like I say, that pale malty note, a little bit of graininess to it, a little bit of a biscuity quality in there as well. And on the hoppy side of things, you've got these lovely noble type hop qualities. You've also got hops in Poland that it could be like Lubelski and things like this. But I'm pretty sure this is German or Czech hopped Slovenian as well. But yeah, so you've got that lovely, you've got a little bit of that nice light earthiness that you get from the noble hops in Germany, the Hallertaus, the Tettnangers. You've also got the Pearl, the Hercules, what's the other one? There is another hop in there that I'm forgetting. Yeah, there are a few different German hops. So the Hallertau and the Tettnanger are the original ones. Pearl is a little bit kind of heavier in its alpha acid, and then you've got the Hercules, which is a bit bigger. Normal Tettnanger hops I think are like 5% alpha acid, and the Pearl's about 6, and I think the Hercules might be about 7, if I remember rightly. And there is another one that I'm forgetting from Germany. You've got, of course, these days as well, you've got Mandarina Bavaria and also Hallertau Blanc. Mandarina Bavaria is about 8% orangey, and then the Hallertau Blanc I think is nearer 10 or 11%. So you've got quite a few different German hops these days. You've also got Northern Brewer, which is popular to use in Dunkels and Doppelbocks. But yeah, the hops in this one, I'm pretty sure it will be Hallertau or Tettnanger, or it could be Czech Sats, Žatec as they call it, or it could be Styrian Goldings, maybe some Polish hops, who knows. But yeah, you've got that lovely kind of bright floral character to this one, a little bit of light grassiness. You've got a wee bit of a citrusy note to the grassiness as well, which is interesting. And on the fruity side of things, you know, it's those typical sort of peary type esters that you're getting out of this one. There's a wee bit of a kind of lemony note to it, but mainly a kind of peary ester, I think, that's coming out of this one. But overall, it does smell really nice. It smells very, very authentic. So if you know this style, I think you will quite like this one. I can't remember how much I paid for this actually. Must have been about 30, maybe 35 crowns for this one. So yeah, this one, when it's a craft brewery, when it's two Nordic craft breweries that are doing this, you are going to pay a little bit more for it, in fairness, than you would for one of the original German ones. But you know, you don't see them brew this style very often, and that was the main reason why I wanted to get this, as well as the fact that I love my traditional German beers. So yeah, let's just have a taste of this one then and see how we get on. It smells very authentic. I think this is going to be good. This one is the Cuddle Monster, a 4.4% Helles beer from Stigbergets Bryggeri in Gothenburg here in Sweden, and Lervig Aktiebryggeri, who come from Stavanger up in Norway. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. That's nice. The thing I really notice about this one is it feels very, very soft. That's the interesting thing about this. It feels, it really feels very, very clean in a lot of ways, and it feels a little bit wetter. I mean, if you compare this to the German ones, the German Helles, a lot of the time they do have a good bit of crispness to them. Obviously, not as much as the the Pilsner is going to give you, right enough, because the Helles and the Pils are, you know, quite different styles. It's different types of malts that you put in them. Helles, the Munich Helles, is a little bit more kind of bready and things like that, and the Pils is a lot crisper. And of course you've got the Czech variants of the Helles as well, the Svetli, and I think you've got the Leitzack as well, which is more of an amber lager. I think that's more like, the Leitzack is a little bit more like a Vienna lager, to be honest with you. And then you've got Dunkel brown lager, you've got that's the Cherny in the Czechs, then you've got the Schwarzbier, which is the same as the Tmavi in the Czech too. So lagers, it's definitely a sort of Bavaria, Bohemia type beer style that you have, but this is nice. I like this, I really do. But you've got to take a few sips of this one, I think, to fully get all the flavours out of this. The thing that's different about this is obviously when you go a bit further north you're going to get cleaner and cleaner water, and that's the main difference between this one. It's not, this one feels a bit cleaner compared to the German ones. The German ones are almost, the German beer I find very, very smooth. Part of that will be down to the water, whereas if you're getting these styles brewed here in Sweden or in Norway and things, they are going to feel just cleaner because of the water, if that makes sense. Not that German beers are dirty, of course, because they are certainly not, but they just feel a little bit wetter in the mouthfeel if they're brewed up here. Same in Scotland and same in Iceland as well. You really notice it with Icelandic beer just how clean their water is. But this is in terms of authenticity, I think they've got this pretty straight up. It's got all the flavours that you would want from a Helles style beer. And I mean, one of the best beers around that you're going to find is the Augustina Helles. Augustina Helles is like really, it's top class. You've got the Spatenbräu, you've got the Paulaner Hofbräu and things like that as well. You know, you've got all of these classic Munich breweries, the original Munich 6, they've all got very, very nice Helles beers. Hacker Shore is the other one. And this one, you've got some, it's just a shame more breweries don't have a go at these, and because you've got for Germans, it's all about the kind of sessionability of the beer, and it's great. This beer is really, really authentic in many, many ways. So let's just describe the flavour of this one then. So straight away you can feel that nice kind of pale malty base, that blankets the middle of the tongue. There is a wee bit of crispness towards the back of the palate. You can feel a little bit more of a kind of crisp malty quality. In the middle of your palate there's a wee bit of a kind of sweet biscuity note, like a McVitie's digestive kind of thing. Not too much though, and you can feel the further you go into the aftertaste with this one, it gradually kind of, it sort of thickens up a little bit. Some of the more bready qualities, as you go further forward on the palate, you can feel a little bit of the white bready notes just kind of thickening up, which is really nice. But the way that malt base goes together, it's quite simple, but it really does work. It doesn't feel quite as thick, I think, as the as some of the German ones, because the German ones find that really good balance between being slightly thicker but also maintaining a bit of crispness, and this beer does that to a good degree as well. But the water just makes it feel really even more clean and even more light. That's the thing with this one. It doesn't quite have the crispness that you would want from a Munich Helles, but it has all the flavour. So this one's a really nice drinkable kind of summer beer actually. So yeah, I'd be very curious to see these guys brew a Dunkel or a Doppelbock. You know, if back in the early days, if Stigbergets were doing German beers, it'd be cool to see them have a go at, you know, the Doppelbocks and things like this again. So maybe that's something that they are going to have a go at. And I think that's one of the interesting things, you know, if Stigbergets and Lervig get together, everyone's expecting some kind of IPA, so for them to come together and do one of the traditional German styles of beer, it's a bit surprising and it's a bit different, so kudos to them for doing something that they weren't really expected to do. So yeah, I like that. I like that about some of these collaboration beers that you find. They're always really interesting from that perspective. So it's cool that they're getting together and almost, you know, I guess having a go at something different. But I like this one. The malt base on this is really pretty damn authentic. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, you have got a nice little bit of earthiness there. The earthiness, it does have a little bit more strength to it, so I do wonder, I think there's maybe a mix of different sort of noble type hops in here. I don't think it's only Hallertau or only Tettnanger or something like this. With the way the earthiness is, I do suspect there's more than one type of hop in here. But as you move further forward, you've got some nice kind of floral aromaticity on the front corners of the palate. Round the very front curve of the tongue, it's a little bit lighter and grassy, and then behind the front curve of the palate, you've got that nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters come out of the beer. And I mean, this one is pretty much straight up. There's a little bit of that kind of lemony citrus to it, like on the very front of the tongue you've got a little bit of a kind of citrusy zesty quality to it, but you've also got some really nice kind of peary esters in there as well. It's not really appley, it doesn't really have much of an appley quality, but definitely sort of more peary esters coming out of this beer, which is quite nice. But yeah, the more and more you drink of this, the cleaner and sort of smoother it gets, which is great. So yeah, I really like how this one goes together. The malt base here is really very nice. So yeah, this beer, I really like how this one how this goes together. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, because we've covered the flavour pretty much, this one is really authentic, and when you're reviewing German style beers from craft breweries, that's what you want. You want these beers to be authentic. This beer, I can tell you right now, you know, on Untappd and Rate Beer and stuff, this one isn't going to get a good rating because it's not an IPA, and that's a shame. So what I'll tell you is this beer is very authentic to what you would expect from, you know, an Augustiner Helles beer or something like that. So don't look at this one in the same, you know, don't rate it on the same scale as you're going to rate an IPA or something. It's absolutely stupid. This beer is very authentic for the style it is, in my opinion. But it's the mouthfeel that's a wee bit different, just because of where it's brewed, I suspect. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel, this is definitely quite a light-bodied beer. It's got a nice level of crispness to it. As I said, the carbonation does help out with that. The carbonation does give you a little bit of that crispness. The mouthfeel is really quite wet in this one. You do have a nice little bit of wetness to the mouthfeel, which is great. In terms of the hoppy bitterness and things, I think we're talking about 20 IBUs, maybe 20 or 15 IBUs with this beer. It has got a little bit, but not overly much. You've got a really nice little bit of hop, a good bit of like hoppy dryness on the edge of the palate there. The malt base is really very smooth, a teeny bit of sweetness in the middle, and you've also got a little bit of a kind of fruity character there at the front of the palate too. But overall, this is a really very nice beer, and I like how everything goes together. It's a 4.4% Helles style beer, which is, I think, very nice. It's got all the things you would want from the style. It just really feels very clean and a little bit wetter than you might find from some of the examples down in Munich or whatever. But yeah, thumbs up to both breweries for this one. As I said, when it comes to Stigbergets and Lervig, you wouldn't expect them to try this beer style, but they have produced something here that is really quite authentic, and I do think it's a bit of a shame that more breweries haven't experimented more with the German Helles or the you know, the Pilsner styles. You could do a lot of interesting things, I think, with these American, Australian, New Zealand hops. You could have some you could have very much fun experimenting with like a, you know, an Enigma hopped Pilsner beer or a Citra hopped Pils or something like this. Incidentally, check out Munich Brew Mafia. They've got a beer called Citra Don. Don Limon. It's called Don Limon, a lovely Citra Pils from one of the craft breweries in Munich. I would really recommend that you try that beer, and it's cool to see you've got this whole new wave of German craft brewers coming up as well. But for something, if you want a real authentic German beer, obviously you can pick your Augustiners and things like that, but these breweries have pulled off something that I think is pretty damn good. So thumbs up to both of them for this one. Not a style that either brewery are known for, but they have done it very well, in my opinion. The next beer you see me review involving Stigbergets as well as a style that they are not known for, actually. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one is the Cuddle Monster, a nice take on the German Helles made with Lervig Aktiebryggeri from Stavanger up in Norway. I think both breweries have done a good job here. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from both from Stigbergets and from Lervig Aktiebryggeri. I'm sure I'll be returning to the Norwegian beer scene in very soon. I do have a couple of Norwegian beers in the fridge to look at. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys later. The Cuddle Monster, brewed at Stigbergets Bryggeri in Gothenburg here in Sweden, in collaboration with Lervig Aktiebryggeri from Stavanger, up on the west coast of Norway. Slange, skål, make sure you check out this beer. Cheers.